Welcome back to the Headspace and Tasting Podcast, where we talk manhood, tell stories, and discuss the stuff that matters to us, one sip at a time. Welcome back, Kevin.
Hello, Matt.
You got any sayings, or we haven't done that in a while, have we? Like a little poetry reading or something? Rip something off the top of your head.
Life's good.
Life is great. God is good. How about that? Beautiful Saturday. It's around noon, close to noon now. Mm-hmm. October, not really October weather outside. More like
no, we're about 12 degrees above average right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to touch 90 again today, or mid 80s.
Mid 80s, I think.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
We got a cold front coming in Monday
with rain.
And then we're going to drop in back into the 70s, 50s, 40s.
Oh, okay, nice.
All next week. So
cool. We'll break out the hoodies.
Yep.
What's been going on with you, man?
Well, not a whole lot of work. Actually, I was very productive this week because of the 7-day challenge that we made last week.
Yeah.
Actually lived up to that. I would actually rate myself probably 94% out of 100. And that 7-day challenge, which we declared last week, was no social media, no news.
Yeah.
And I did really well. I did really well staying off the news. I'm finding out about news from people telling me what's going on. That's how I'm finding out. And then social media was only enough to update the podcast or a couple other messages that would pop me up that required a response from me.
Yeah, and that would be difficult. I don't have Facebook, Twitter, any of that. I do have Reddit, but I don't get messages. Like I don't get, friend updates or friend requests or whatever. So having that Facebook app on your phone going off of people tagging you in posts and all that kind of stuff would be tough to avoid.
But I mean, it was a great week. I had to do something with all that time. I realized I had a lot of time on my hands. So worked on landscaping around the house and did a few things downstairs in the basement. Was able to catch up on some reading.
Cool.
The mind was focused on other things, not on a video screen.
Yeah.
Or a phone or a computer. And it was actually really good. And then, the challenge is up. So this morning I look at the news and I immediately went, why am I looking at the news?
Yeah.
I know the challenge is over. And then I scrolled through it. 11 straight headlines or news articles. Not a single one out of 11 were positive.
No, that doesn't sell, man.
So that, just so you know, if you ever want to do the challenge or you're going to pay attention to what you're actually reading, that's what's going into your brain every day.
Absolutely.
11 points of negativity instead of filling it up with 11 points of positivity.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely failed I think it was on Monday. You were like, how are you doing with the challenge? And I was like, oh, crap, I totally forgot. But I saw like a little clip about Portland. Like they're authorizing National Guard to support ICE and law enforcement in Portland to clean up the streets and blah, 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 blah. So I was like, well, I know somebody who lives up there. I called him up, my buddy Dave. I said, Dave, we're seeing all this crap down here in Missouri about how Portland is basically lost. Like it's just chaos and they have to send the National Guard in. And he's like, dude, I'm driving through Portland right now. I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, if you go to the ICE facility, the federal building downtown, there's like 100 people there. And that's about it. He's like, we have our usual homeless problem, that kind of stuff. But he's like, I don't really understand. I don't know what they're talking about.
Right. It's the same as the Ferguson riots that we had, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It made national news and everybody was calling me up going, Kevin, how bad is it?
You got to get out of there.
And all this. And I said, you don't understand. It's a 2-block area.
Right.
The whole world is watching 2 blocks go up in flames.
Yeah.
The rest of St. Louis is not even paying attention.
They don't even notice. Like, yeah. So here's the same. So all that media stuff, it can trigger your emotions to feel like there's something to panic about.
Right. Or to get you to feel one way or the other.
Yeah, it's manipulation, 100% manipulation. Yeah. Operation Mockingbird is not a theory. It's a real CIA operation.
Yep.
and you can go look it up yourself. It's been proven.
Oh, it's one I agree with.
It's definitely real. And, like hell, the dude who played Austin Powers got outed during the P. Diddy trial to be working with the CIA. Like that's mind blowing. If you just hear that and you don't know anything about how our government actually works, you would just laugh that off. Like, what? That's ridiculous. That no.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, you would be surprised how much of Hollywood and our major news networks are actually employees of the CIA. you would either be in denial. There's two reactions. You'd be in denial, or you would what's called red pill. You would go the opposite direction.
Or you work for them already.
Or you're one of them.
You're
so we're going to talk about this today. Our topic is going to be about being prepared. About, we had the show before, the prepper. We talked about like details about prepping. I think today we're probably going to talk more philosophical prepping, the mentality behind it, why we would do it, what caused us to start having a preparedness mindset. In September is National Preparedness Month.
Yep. Here we are, first weekend of October.
Yeah. And at work, I talk to people about, preparing for earthquakes, prepare for power outages, prepare for mass shooting events, public unrest, whatever.
Even the Center for Disease Control has a webpage on it just for the zombie apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually use the term zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, they really do.
So,
before we dive into our topic for today, though, let's talk about the bourbon you brought.
Yeah. So last week, what was the bourbon we did last week?
We did the Penelope.
Yeah.
It was Penelope's bourbon, straight bourbon whiskey, the 4-grain,
Right.
That was made for, I guess, 21-year-old girls.
Yeah. So exactly. And we did the 1-star rating on it.
Yeah.
And I knew I had a 4-grain bourbon at home. So I thought, well, I'll bring in this 4-grain bourbon. So that's what we're doing today. It is A.D. Law's Whiskey House. And it's 4-grain straight bourbon whiskey, Farmer Select, barrel number 727, 95 proof. And what
Can you
is
explain
interesting,
Farmer Select real quick? What makes it a Farmer Select?
Yeah, what makes this, there's two things about this that's interesting. Number one, Farmer Select, what they did, first off, A.D. Law's is in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they call it bourbon whiskey. And it is Farmer Select because the farmers involved with the distillery actually picked their own special part of the grain that they grow to put together for this particular bourbon. So rather than just saying rye, they would actually pick out the best of the best.
And it's heirloom rye. Right?
Yeah,
everything's all heirloom grains.
Right, all heirloom grains. 60% corn, 20% wheat, 10% rye, and 10% barley. And so that's how they did it and put it all together, based out of Denver, Colorado. The other thing that's interesting, Farmer Select, A.D. Law's 4-grain bourbon, is it is not advertised anywhere on their website.
Huh.
So this bottle I've had since 2017 or 2018. I can't remember exactly what year it was. I want to say 17 or 18,
Mm-hmm.
probably 18, that I purchased it, had it on my shelf ever since. We just opened it up this morning. And I was surprised not to see it on their website. And so I actually tried to contact them. They haven't responded to me. It's been a week. Haven't responded to me because I wanted to know exactly when it was released.
You think it was a single run? Like a one-off?
I don't know that it was a single run or not. Have no idea. It could have been. Don't know.
Yeah.
I do know that at the time of purchase, it was about $55. Here we are, 2025. So was that 7 years later
Mm-hmm.
from purchase? And on the secondary market, it's going for $200 today. Certainly a darker color than the one we did last week.
Yeah, it's more of a caramel. I don't know if I'd call it, I guess it's amber caramel, maybe in between amber and caramel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks closer to what a bourbon looks like.
Yeah, the
versus
last week was more like an apple juice. It looked like kind of very pale.
Yep.
They didn't water this one down too much. I mean, I would imagine they had to bring the proof down some.
Yeah, it is classic open air sour mash fermentation.
Okay.
That's how they did it, and it's aged no less than 3 years in the classic American white oak barrels.
Nice. Yeah, this is very good, man. I like this a lot. I'm a big fan of the square bottles too. I like those shorter square bottles.
Yeah.
Perfect square. It's kind of cool. Very thick glass. It's pretty. On the nose, I just wrote traditional bourbon with some vanilla, but it is more of a more grainy notes, I would say. It's not as syrupy or malty or sweet smelling as what do we taste like Angel's Envy or something out of Kentucky. That's a more traditional bourbon. This is a 4 grains. So that's what I wrote. Traditional. I did write traditional bourbon on there. I don't know what I was thinking.
My nose, I had 2 distinct aromas. The first one was maple syrup, and
Really?
the second one was a pluot.
A what?
A pluot, which is a fruit, and it's a combination of a plum and an apricot.
Weird. I've never had that before.
Pluots are great when they're in season.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
So
Just
I said
take
a
plum and
traditional-
apricot and mash them together,
Yeah.
and that's the other aroma I was getting.
I did have some kind of fruity finish. On the taste, when I first tasted it, it's wheat, barley, vanilla, oak char. You know, it's some of the spices in there are very good. Finish, I said it lingers quite a bit for me. Medium heat and with a fruity notes at the end. So maybe that's what I'm tasting is your pluot. Maybe that, because I couldn't place it. It's not cherries. It's not apple. It's not, the normal fruit that I eat. So
One of the things I like about you and I tasting is there are many times where you and I, our flavor profiles are so
yeah,
different.
we're wildly different.
For me, the taste was, I thought it was a little silky, got a little bit of honey. It was definitely woodsy, coffee. I thought it rests on the tongue well, and the spice kind of lingers a little bit.
Yeah.
And then on the finish, I thought it was a pretty rich finish actually, but I thought it was somewhat dry. It doesn't actually hang around a lot,
A little dry, but
and then it's kind of gone. Where to me, the flavor and the lingering is just on the tongue, but the rest of it on the throat, anywhere else, not really there.
yeah, for me, it's tongue, roof of mouth, towards the back, a little bit more sides, the back and sides of my tongue, which I guess is the dryness of it. It's interesting, man. And now that, it's been breathing. We've been talking for quite a bit before we started recording and letting it breathe. And I can really get more of the corn out of it.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I guess I'm just basic. That's me, just a basic dude. So
I don't know. I mean, we agreed on a bunch of them, but sometimes
we do.
When we pick the specifics, I just like hearing our 2 different opinions on what it is we're tasting.
On my wheel, how would we compare on our wheels down there?
Well, you're balanced heavily toward the left side of the wheel.
Yeah.
I don't think mine would have gone out that far. But I think I still would have been on your side. I just wouldn't have.
Not as intense.
Yeah.
Which is normal for us.
And those who can't see the wheel, what we're talking about is the linger, the balance, the legs, the body, the sweetness, and the char.
Yeah, right side is more of the fruity herbal profile, but
yes,
I'm a pretty intense dude, as you know. Like I tend to go, like I said, I'm extremist.
Well, this is not an intense bourbon.
This is not.
No.
But maybe it's extreme to me because I drank the rest of that Penelope this week, and now I'm going back to a man's bourbon. It's like, oh, this is what a bourbon is supposed to
I
taste
also like this. This gives me faith in the process when, you get told that once it's bottled and sealed,
Yeah.
as long as it's stored properly, it'll never go bad. And it doesn't age like wine. Once it's in the bottle, it's in the bottle, that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
And so this has been sitting on my shelf for 8 years.
You know, it's an artificial cork.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's the way to go, man. If you use real cork, you're rolling dice.
You are.
Especially if it's not stored at a decent temperature. You know, it doesn't have to be like wine. Like, what's wine, like 52 degrees or whatever the specific
degree we have to get Dave on there.
Temperature range. Bourbon can, you know, as long as it's not boiling hot, or I guess colder the better. But
and away from light.
Yeah. Okay. Because it's clear glass. Maybe that would.
Yeah. The other thing is, and for those of you who have bourbons, and you may have heard, you know, every now and then you should take your bourbon and lean it on its side to make sure you keep the cork moist.
Oh.
That's an urban myth. Don't do that. Keep the bottle upright. You know, maybe the cork will dry out. Maybe it won't. That's a risk you're taking.
Yeah,
but a real cork does contaminate the bourbon over time.
Yeah.
Very well could. So just keep it upright. You don't need to do that tilting the bottle over kind of thing. Don't believe what you hear on that.
That real cork makes a pretty cool sound, though.
It does. I mean, this is pretty close. You know.
Let's see.
That was pretty close, but you could tell.
Yeah. Yeah, we missed that squeak.
Yeah.
That squeaky. How many stars are you giving this out of 5?
You know what? I think I might give this one a 4.
I am also going 4.
I think so.
If I was doing half stars still, I might go 3.5, but it makes a good case for a 4-star bourbon.
I'm going to go 4 stars.
I like it a lot.
Now, I have one more at home that's also 4 grain from 80 Laws. I bought it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do it later, some other show in the future. But it is bottled in bond.
Oh, okay.
So, again, 100 proof.
Yeah.
But it's their 4 grain bourbon.
Okay. Yeah, I almost bought a bottle of Bullet Bourbon bottle in bond because we tried the bourbon before, but they made a bottle in bond version. So Bullet's got a lot now on the shelf. It used to just be their bourbon and rye. That's it. Now there's like 4 or 5 different bottles.
Actually, I'm thinking unless you're so good that you're only going to focus on one and you know everybody's going to buy it.
Yeah.
I think everyone keeps branching out and trying to play with it a little bit more.
Yeah.
To try and get their market share going.
Dude, Maker's Mark is crazy. Like,
so is Penelope.
They have so many different Maker's Marks now.
I was at the Rack House on Wednesday night, and they have 13 varieties of Penelope. Now, Penelope, I never even heard of them 3 years ago.
Yeah, what the heck?
And all of a sudden, they have 13 different kinds. And I'm going, yeah, okay.
Maybe stick to 4 and try to be better. But, you know, the 4 grain we tried last week of Penelope, right next to it on the shelf is a 4 grain barrel strength. So it's the same version, but not watered down, not down, like to lower the proof.
Yeah.
So we maybe we should do those like at the same show. We'll go do the same Penelope and then the man's version.
But you know, here we are, you know, enjoying a good bourbon for once.
Yeah.
And
yeah, when was the last time we had a 4-star bourbon? Well, we had we
had a couple of 5s.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever rated anything 4 yet.
Courage and Conviction was 4 for me.
Yeah, I didn't do 4.
Rough Rider was 3. Tin Cup was 3. Belle Meade, we had a 5-star. Yellowstone 2. Blade and Bow 3.
And I don't have my book with me, so I can't.
Buffalo Trace 3. Calumet, I put a 2.5. Oh, here we go. Nashville Barrel Company, small batch, 4.5 from me. So, you know, but we're different. Our tastes are different.
Yep.
And that's the whole point of bourbon, man.
Yeah.
It's bourbon tasting. It's different for everybody. It's subjective, and that's cool.
So, you know, at the beginning, we were talking about the whys and wherefores, and we're in October, but September was National Preparedness Month.
Yeah.
Do you remember when and why you decided to start prepping?
Yes.
That was a quick answer.
I do. I remember there's two points in my life that, well, 3, but one I'm not going to discuss. There's 2 points in my life. One was in 1997. I picked up a book called Behold a Pale Horse.
Okay.
And that opened my eyes to a whole new world of what's really going on around me. The second time in my life was October 2015. We had a 1,000-year flood in South Carolina. We had this crazy rainstorm, but also coupled with a hurricane off coast. But it was it was a strong enough hurricane that it like pushed the two weather systems together over top of us. So it was just tons of rain. And so October 2015 was another tipping point for me. Like, like, dude, when it really comes down to it, you're on your own. I remember the 2008, the financial crisis, whatever they call it, the Great Recession.
Yes.
I was on Fort Jackson. That's another time because people were like, I'm a drill sergeant. We're working on Fort Jackson, and we had other drill sergeants like, I got to get to the bank. I got too much money in the bank. I got to pull some money out. They were like shutting the doors on banks and stuff. And really, now that I think about it, Hurricane Katrina was a point because that was
05.
I was at Fort Knox when Hurricane Katrina hit, and it went right. It came all the way up past Kentucky or past Louisiana, over Kentucky. And it might have been a tropical storm or tropical depression by then, but it was enough to where we had hurricane warnings, or not hurricane, I'm sorry, tornado warnings. So we had to take soldiers out of the barracks and to safer areas. And we had to shut the gates. There was MPs at the gate because people were trying to get on post for fuel. They thought everybody was like, this is it. It's time to, batten the hatches, I guess, whatever they say in the Navy. And I do remember MPs being at the gates and turning people away. You're talking like card-carrying veterans who have the right to come on post. They were turning them away. You couldn't get to the PX or gas. They locked it down. It wasn't quite that bad during the recession thing. It was just like, something's going on. We don't understand. Let's just go take care of what you need to take care of financially and then be done with that. That was like a one-day thing. But I remember feeling like how fragile the system is. A hiccup, which it wasn't really a hiccup. Like looking at the history of the bubble of the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the loans, the predatory lending and all that kind of stuff. But if you don't pay attention to any of that stuff, if you're not a financial guru, you're just living your life. All of a sudden, one day.
And you don't even need to be a financial guru. You just need to understand what's going on in the world around you when it comes to the markets or just the finances in general.
Yeah. So that started getting me thinking like, I don't know enough about what's happening right now. I need to study up on this. I need to study up on water treatment. I need to learn about because one day I might not be able to get fresh water out of the tap in my kitchen, where I'd have to boil it and filter and whatever. And how if somebody gave me an evacuation order from the government tells me to evacuate, would I listen to them? Probably not. That's just my personality. I would probably be like, no, I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to protect my property. And you're on your own then. Are you ready for that? So in 2015, I was a single dad, me and my two boys. We had the 1,000-year flooding. In South Carolina, there's this phenomenon of, they call them unregulated dams, which are really illegal. People damming up streams and creeks, whatever, to make wetlands for hunting ducks, or they want a pond, or they want a lake to develop, build around, whatever. There was a lot of these. I think there was, let's see, 19 people died, $2.7 billion in damage because of all these dam failures and the flooding. So it was already flooding. Then these unregulated dams broke and just caused chaos. So that got me thinking like, dude, we're not ready. So ever since then, we started at the beginning of summer, beginning of hurricane season. We always drank bottled water. So I would buy 2 cases instead of 1 every week. So we had one set aside, and we'd buy ramen noodles and canned beans or whatever. 1 year later, exactly October 2016, Hurricane Matthew hit South Carolina. Again, 25 dams breached during Hurricane Matthew. You had flash flooding. The ground down there is very sandy where we were at.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of that washed out from underneath the blacktop roads. All the roads down there are blacktop, the country roads. And then everything looks fine until you drive across it. You might see like 2 inches of water, and you drive across it, and the road was collapsing under cars. So we were stuck in our house, our neighborhood. We were stuck there for 3 days. The hurricane had been passed, and it's sunny, hot outside, but we're stuck. We can't drive anywhere. You could walk to the grocery store, but it would be at least an hour. And meanwhile, the grocery store shelves are pretty much bare by then. A day later, but we were prepared. We were ready. We had enough water, enough food. We had batteries. We had first aid supplies if we needed it. Just the bare essentials. Just because I knew after a few days everything is going to be okay. But they had FEMA was there setting up evacuation shelters because people in Colombia, their houses were flooded. It was a little hairy for a while, and I had enough to share a little bit of water with my neighbors. I had some friends in Colombia that were evacuated because they were saying this dam might break, and if it breaks, you're going to be flooded, so you need to leave. And so I had some friends come to my house. They stayed. They brought all their food and stuff, and they hung out for a few days till everything was all clear. And it was nice to say, we're ready for whatever comes. We're ready. And it helped me to have a positive outlook about the hurricane and the chaos that was going on outside of my area. But it's also nice to be able to help your friends and neighbors. So that's when it really started for me, I guess, was 97. I read that book, and I realized there's a lot more going on in this world besides your selfish self, like what your bubble. Then Hurricane Katrina, then the Great Recession, 1,000-year flood in 2015, and Hurricane Matthew 2016. Even I lived here in 93 when we had the big flood here. That didn't affect me at all. Because where we live in St. Peter's, we're elevated kind of outside of the river valley.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could park up at Mid Rivers Mall and look like an ocean on the other side of the highway. But I think I-70 was still open, right? It was still operating.
It was never closed.
Never closed. But everything north of I-70 was underwater.
Yeah, it was interesting. Flood in 93, I never even thought about the concept of wanting to have this on my shelf.
No, I didn't. Well, I was a kid.
I was 23.
Yeah.
And I still wasn't even thinking along those lines.
No, I didn't.
For me, it was 2011, right at the new year, 2011. And I tried to figure out when I started it because I couldn't remember. And it turns out I wrote down a dream that I had. So this was my dream. I dreamt that I was outside with people I knew, and I don't remember who, and we suddenly had strong, peculiar smell, a sense of heat, and a split second had a feeling of dread. I looked over my shoulder to see a nuclear explosion in the distance, and we all hit the ground just before the shockwave and debris flew by us. This dream was so vivid and so scary, unlike any dream I've ever had. I prayed for the next half hour. It was as if I had witnessed the end of the world. And that was January of 2011. And then a week later, I had another dream. And a week later, I was wakened by the dog barking and a child's scream. Immediately called 911, reported intruders in our home, and then searched for some makeshift weapon. What made the dream most dreadful was a voice involving a portion of Genesis 4:7. Sin is crouching at your door.
Oh. And you're, just for the audience, you're reading out of a journal that you kept.
Yeah. Reading out a diary I kept. And I had 2 dreams. Then a month later, I had a third dream. In the third dream, I was in a command and control airplane during a nuke attack and watching it out the window. Then our plane began to go down and I bailed out right into it. However, I was so high in the air I could see across the continent as I continued to see new flashes followed by the distinctive mushroom cloud. That was my third dream in a month. I don't watch those TV shows or movies.
Was North Korea doing some missile testing in 2011?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, I wonder what was going on, what kind of media you were consuming at the time or what was going on in your personal life, maybe some stress that could trigger.
Who knows? I'm looking at the befores and afters when I was in here and there was nothing in here. I wasn't watching any weird movies.
Yeah.
Nothing out of the ordinary. And then again, 1 month later, Japan had the largest earthquake ever recorded this week.
Yeah.
It was 8.9%, triggered the tsunami 15 minutes later. And that same tsunami in Japan from that earthquake also hit Hawaii and California. And that's when Fukushima
nuclear
went
power
in.
plant. Yeah.
And I also wrote in my diary, what's ironic about this is just 2 days before this earthquake, I decided to start putting together bug out bags for the family. Survival has become my new mission. And so that's where it started, when and how I slowly, it was a slow process. Transition takes a lot of research.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And turns out, there was one point that same week I recorded that I actually went to a shooting range with my best friend and we were shooting. And I mentioned to him what I was doing. And he goes, that's weird because I just started doing the same thing. He and I never even talked about it. And I went, well, that to me is the confirmation that what I'm doing is right.
Yeah, and as fathers and the leaders of our household, one of the main functions, one of our main reasons for being is the security of our family. And you cannot have security without preparing for different contingencies. That doesn't mean you need to break up the foundation in your basement and dig a nuclear fallout bunker.
Because your neighbors are going to figure out what you're doing. They're going to ask an awful lot of questions.
Yeah, they're going to.
Where's all that concrete going? Why's all that dirt here?
But also, I've thought it all the way through. Like, do I want to live like Cormac McCarthy's book, The Road? Do I want to live that through that?
Right.
Or would I rather just go out in the initial flash, and just be gone? I don't want to live in a post-apocalyptic landscape.
Right.
I don't have any desire to live through that. So I know where I'm going when I die. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Right. And so, that's the thing. So when all this is flashing through my head and I'm going, I need to start doing something. That's exactly where I started.
Yeah.
Was, well, first the practicality, because I mentioned the bug out bag. I'll get into that. But, what am I preparing for? And so, you make this list out to try to figure out what circumstances are going to affect your life, the life of your family. Because at the same time, that was still the back end of the Great Recession.
Yeah.
That I lost my job, 2 years before this, and making sure that all that stuff came together at a point, and I said, all right, if this really was to happen, do I have enough food on the shelf to feed the family? Am I living in a lot of debt? Do I have a resource for income or to get money of some way? Do I have something saved up on the side to handle just a basic emergency? Even if your car broke down.
Yeah.
That's part of preparing.
Yeah.
What do you do when your car breaks down? So, I mean, I was trying to write out all these different things
Mm-hmm.
and then figure out, okay, what are the most practical ones? And then work your way from there.
Yeah. I think I started out like, oh, I need some guns and ammo. I need a gun. I need ammo. I don't have anything. And that was just my animal instinct of survival. So I was coming from a survival mindset, not a preparedness mindset. Now that I'm a little older and I've experienced a lot of different situations, preparedness gives you a feeling of security. If you have feelings of insecurity, you're going to feel anxiety. Anxiety will breed desperation. You don't want to be in a desperate situation. You want to be able to pause and evaluate what's going on and make rational decisions. But if you're in a fight or flight mentality, you're just going to, who knows what you're going to do. So there was a couple acronyms that you brought up when we were talking about doing this. One of them is prepare or prepper. And the other one was survive. I didn't write that one down. I didn't. It's out of the FM 21-76.
Yeah, survival.
Yeah, so the Army Survival Manual, the SEER Survival, Evasion, Resistance, Escape, 21-76, which I think I have over in my basement, but I didn't want to dig through all the crap we have packed up and ready to move to pull it out. From both of these acronyms, the main point that I got was your mental state is paramount. Whatever, so it's your...
Oh, without a doubt.
Are you spiritually grounded? Do you, what are you putting your faith in? Are you putting your faith in your guns to save you? Are you putting your faith in the government that they're going to take care of you? You need to have the right mentality. Like, I am going to make it through this. We're going to be fine no matter what. And have a right attitude. Attitude goes a long way as well. So the PREPPER acronym, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Letter P.
The first P.
Prepare for any disaster.
Yeah. So this is regional, right? Here in Missouri, eastern Missouri, we live along the New Madrid Fault. We've had a major earthquake here before. I think it was probably 100-something years ago.
Yeah, early 1800s.
Where it was so strong it made the Mississippi River flow backwards. So it could be big. We do have some activity like on a regular basis, but it's nothing we can feel. I think I was in 6th grade when the last earthquake hit. I think it was like a 3 Richter scale, 3 something. And that was like a whole deal where people were like, oh, this is a pre-quake. There's going to be a massive earthquake coming, so you need to be prepared and all that. But we live along the fault line. We also live near 2 of the largest rivers in our country. I guess the 2 largest.
Yeah.
Yeah, the largest. The Missouri and the Mississippi. So the chances of it flooding, despite the best efforts of the Corps of Engineers and locks and dams and levees, and it can still break. You can still get your flooding.
We have a nuclear power reactor 60 miles to the west of us.
Yep. We have a major military industrial complex manufacturer close by.
Yeah.
That will be a prime target for our enemies. And it's not a coincidence that it's in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
Our stealth bombers are close by.
We get hit with tornadoes.
Yep.
Occasionally.
Tornadoes. So you have to go down the list regionally. Are you in a hurricane zone? Are you in a flood zone? Are you earthquakes? Everybody is affected by the power grid. If your I think Texas has their own grid, right? Separate from the continental United States, but
they still borrow power though.
They do. Yeah. They're not independent. No. Do you have one of these new data centers near you, drawing all your power? And what's the priority? Because
And water.
they do have a priority list of who gets the power, who gets the water. And I promise you, you're not at the top of that list.
But even outside of natural disasters, we talked about losing a job,
yeah.
getting a health scare,
Yeah.
loss of a family member.
Right.
Can count.
Sure.
Transportation, something as simple as getting in and out of your job.
Yeah. A big snowstorm.
Right.
Which we had last year. We had a big enough snowstorm where people couldn't come to work. So it was like skeleton crew. But you need to keep working. Like we still got to make money. We have to keep this operation going. So people, if you could make it in, could make it in. So that's why I have a 4-wheel drive truck, because we could get a massive snowstorm here. And I live in an unincorporated part of town, and my roads are the last roads to get cleared.
Controlling your debt, because in order, if you're using credit cards all the time and racking them up, you lose your job.
It's over.
You still got to handle the debt. Your debt just doesn't go away. You can't just file bankruptcy and say it's gone.
Yeah.
The laws change.
Mm-hmm.
They're still going to come back and get that money.
As soon as you start earning, they're coming for you.
Yep.
So prepare for any disaster, and a disaster is subjective. People, to me, a flat tire is not a disaster. A car goes down, it's not a disaster. We have 2 vehicles. We can just carpool, and I'll get to work. So you have to do like a risk assessment. Where you live, what's going on in your life, how much debt are you carrying, how accessible are basic services.
Who are you responsible for?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like your children?
Yeah. That's a big one.
Snowstorm, you got 2 extra boxes of diapers sitting in your house?
Yeah. Right.
Something as simple as that.
Yeah, that's right. Or do you have some disposable or reusable diapers as backup?
Yes. Yeah.
And the R in Prepper, respond without fear. When you're responding from a place of fear, you are in a fight or flight type of mode. You're in desperation. You could make the wrong decision automatically without having the luxury or the right mindset. You might just be reacting instead of being proactive. So respond without fear. So if you're prepared for any disaster, that will allow you to respond without fear.
It will also allow you to pause before you make a decision.
That's right.
You have to have your senses about you enough to evaluate what's happening
and
to make a decision.
Physical fitness plays a role in this as well.
Sure does.
If you're physically fit, your health in a healthy body, healthy mind, it will really help you not respond in a fear mode or the flight mode, fight or flight. Like you can take a breath and be like, oh, I have to walk home now, instead of panicking and carjacking somebody and taking them, like that's extreme.
Yeah, this isn't Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. But you'll be like, oh, okay, I got to walk an hour to get home. No problem.
But that's another thing that you should be prepared for.
Yeah, for sure.
Is someone going to go GTA on you because you're driving your car?
That's right. Yeah. Are you ready to run somebody over on Mexico Road out there?
Right.
Yeah. Are you ready for that? Can you respond without fear? Can you do that without fear overwhelming you? And the E. We kind of touched on this with prepare for any disaster. Evaluate every possible scenario.
That's the risk assessment.
Do your risk assessment. Yeah. If you don't know how to do it, just Google a risk assessment, and you can start with any topic you want, and it'll run you through. This is kind of my profession, is risk assessment.
Right. And also along with the same profession, the job hazard analysis.
Yeah.
Can you run a hazard analysis on the scenario that you just played in your head?
Right. So you're listing out the potential hazards. What could go wrong here is the question you're asking. What could go wrong? And then if A, B, and C go wrong, how am I going to react to this? And you have a plan in place. And then you practice the plan. That's a big part too. P, pack supplies. So you said you have bug out bags for all your family?
Yep,
Or,
I did.
Yeah, you did. Okay. What changed?
Time, circumstances.
Hmm.
That, so if I go back to the basics, when we talk about a bug out bag, what's a bug out bag? Well, a bug out bag is a bag that you have sitting at a convenient place in your home, that if something was to happen, some kind of emergency that required you to leave your home. Again, you talked about an emergency evacuation, because you're about to get flooded out, or the plague is somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah.
This way, you're not stressing and running around trying to throw random stuff in a bag to get out. You have a bag that's already prepared. It's got all the basic needs for you for a minimum of 3 days.
Mm.
That includes food, clothing, hygiene, water, and one of the most important things is having copies of important documents.
Yeah.
In case you lose yours, you have a copy of your driver's license or your passport, birth certificates, marriage certificate,
your animal's vaccination records,
your own vaccination records, utility bills, bank account numbers.
Let's say you need to go into an evacuation zone and you have your dog and cat with you. They're not going to let that dog and cat come in unless they can verify they've had their proper vaccines, whatever that is.
So that's the necessity of what I would consider a bug out bag. It's there in case you have to quickly evacuate your home.
Yeah.
And so, I have a large family, 7 of them. I used to have 7 of these bags. And, over time, you're always in it. But then there's times where suddenly you go, oh, man, it's been a year. I forgot to all look in these, and everything in there is expired.
Yeah.
You got to pull it all out, redo it. And that's kind of where it just kind of falls off.
Yeah, it does.
Little bit, unless you're always on it. But then you have another one for instance, my car. I have what they call a get home bag.
That's it, yeah.
And I have 2 things in my car. So number one, I have a little bag in there that is what I call my car kit. That's going to handle basic emergencies. I've got a tire pressure gauge, for instance, fix-a-flat. If I can't change the tire, I can at least get enough air and fix-a-flat in it. I can get it to a service station down the road or something to get help. Might have a raincoat in there, road flares, a blanket. If you get stuck out in the middle of nowhere and it's freezing cold, you don't want to run your car all night long. No. Because you got to deal with carbon monoxide poisoning and all these things. So
you're going to run out of gas.
Having some spare bottles of water, energy bars in your car. So, those are examples of what's an extra bottle of oil. Yeah. Those are all examples of what I would have in a car kit, a flashlight, for example. But then I also have a get home bag. So the get home bag, the reality is I spend more time away from my home than I am at home. Yeah. Because of my job or just going to a store or whatever. So if something was to happen on the road and I need to get home, that's why it's called get home. It's almost like a bug out bag. It's a little bit simpler, a little bit lighter, but it has all the necessary supplies for me to get home. And the way I plan it is I work 8 minutes away from my house. By car. But I also have responsibilities on my job that are 109 miles away. Yes. So I plan on the 109-mile emergency. Right. If something is to happen where I have no way to get home. So again, another scenario is the electromagnetic pulse, the EMP, that just blows the grid of everything electrical in the entire world. Right. And nothing works. I got to walk home 109 miles. Right. So the bag I carry has basic supplies for me to walk that distance to get to the house. Because stores won't be open. Nope. And I'm going to try to avoid people at that moment, keep on moving. And I got to stay nourished and hydrated and warm. Yeah. Another navigation. Yes.
Do you know how to navigate over land?
Can you read a real map?
Right.
Even just a road map.
So what I do is I have a get home bag as well. My get home bag is also my bug out bag, but I have no intention whatsoever of bugging out of my house. So my whole plan is to get home. Wherever I'm at, get home, because wife and child are at home all the time. And our contingency is give me 5 days. If I'm traveling for work, it's usually I can walk home easily in 5 days. And we have a communication plan. I tell her around day 4, turn the radio on. We have some radios in Faraday bags. We keep them in Faraday bags. And we have spare batteries. And the plan is day 4, turn the radios on, scan this channel. Then it's day 5, go to this channel. And so communication and navigation are huge. And I tell her, like, wherever you are, just get home. That's all you need to worry about, get home. Because I'm coming home too. You have to have you have to be on the same page with your loved ones. Here's what we're going to do. Don't panic. Just get home. That's it. Keep it simple. If I'm not home within 2 days, I'm going to try to get here. Don't lose hope. I'm coming.
Right.
And I am fully prepared to walk over 100 miles and to be able to survive and get here. And 100 miles, I could do that in 4 days without a problem. It's going to suck for sure. Now that I'm 46, it's not going to be comfortable. So I gave myself an extra day. 5 days, I'll be home.
Yeah.
I know what azimuth to follow from where we work. That's 100 miles away. I know what azimuth to follow, and I keep a compass in my get home bag, because my phone may not be working. My GPS watch may not be working. I know highways to get home, but maybe that's not the safest route to take.
Right.
It might be for a little while, but people get desperate. They'll be in that responding in fear. And when people respond in fear, it's usually violent towards other people because they're scared that they're going to get hurt.
Or they were unprepared.
They're unprepared and they want to take your stuff. They see you walking with a big backpack. Hey, man, you got some food in there?
They're thirsty. They're hungry. They're cold. But packing, the get home bag, the bug out bag, the main thing we forgot about is when we're talking about packing supplies is what do you have in your own home?
Yes.
And how are you planning?
Yeah.
Do you have water for you and the family for a certain period of time?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just drinking. You got to have enough water for hygiene.
To flush your toilets, because your plumbing will work if you have enough water to pour into the bowl.
Yes.
Right.
But you have to be able to heat food or, any number of scenarios.
What about entertainment for the children? Do you have coloring books, board games, books?
Right.
Candles to light so they're not scared of the dark?
You need to have shelf-stable food. If you're putting all your food in a refrigerator or a freezer, we just talked about the EMP. If the grid goes down, then you're going to cook it all within 24 hours.
Yep.
Because you have to. And by the way, you can't cook it on your electric stove.
Nope.
So I hope you have wood or charcoal set aside or a couple gas canisters for your grill to be cooking. And you got to cook it all up. It's all going to go bad.
Right. You got to cook everything.
And then so that's the time you're going to share it with every neighbor in the neighborhood, probably.
Yeah.
Unless you know what you're doing on food preservation.
Right. And we don't want to get into too much details about what we do personally, what we have at our home. But I will say knowing some primitive skills, which I guess would be considered primitive nowadays, like how to can and jar and dry food.
Well, I guess that would be kind of under the next letter P, plan for the unexpected.
Okay, yeah.
Part of planning for the unexpected is developing skills.
Yes. Because
you can't plan for the unexpected and deal with it if you don't have a skill to handle it.
Right. I think two of the bookshelves I have, 2 full shelves, are about backyard gardening, herbalism, natural medicines, carpentry. What else do we have up there? Like limited calorie diets, different diets that would be considered fad diets nowadays. But how many calories do you actually need per day?
Mm-hmm.
Those are things you need to know about. I'm an certified EMT, and I also have learned wilderness. I guess medicine, but wilderness first aid. Swiftwater rescues,
Scavenging.
scavenging.
Can you recognize where it's an edible fruit or nut that's
Yeah.
laying around here? Do you know the difference between a good or bad mushroom
Yeah.
that might be growing?
Well, I would say right now, don't eat mushrooms if you're in a survival situation, because
Try and find food.
there's a lot of mushrooms that look exactly the same. One will kill you and one will feed you.
Mm-hmm.
And they look identical. What else is next? Envision a happy outcome. And that's different for everybody, right? So you and I, Kevin, we're grounded in our faith, and a happy outcome for us is we're going to go to heaven, right? But
Worst case scenario.
worst case scenario, we're going to heaven.
Otherwise, the other happy outcome is the lights come back
The lights
on.
turn back on. Yeah, they're going to come back on.
I
They're
just
going
got
to
hired
fix.
at a job.
Yeah. Or my significant other's coming with a spare tire.
Right.
Whatever. Caitlin and I were on and off again at the beginning of our relationship when COVID hit, and I was at the fire department the day that they kind of locked down everything, and I was stuck at work. But I'm a single dad. My 2 sons are coming home from school because they shut school down, and I couldn't leave work to go take care of my children. I guess I could have just told them I quit, I'm going home, but I kind of had a duty to the citizens that I was serving. Thank God I had Caitlin, that I called her up. I was like, hey, I need help. My sons are at home. They don't have anybody to cook them dinner. I can't leave the fire department, but I need you to go to Walmart and get some food, get some water, and go to the house and make dinner for the boys. And again, thank God she didn't hang up the phone on me, because she could have easily just hung up and be like, man, screw you. But she did. And she came and she took care of my boys. And that was when I fell in love with her. Having a team of people that you can do drills with, or at least you have a loose plan together, then that's a great thing, man. But if you're doing it, you think you're going to do it on your own, you ain't going to make it.
No. You have to be optimistic.
Yes.
If you're not optimistic about whatever the scenario is, and you're pessimistic and you got that doom attitude, you're exactly right. That's what's going to happen to you.
Yep. Yeah. You are predicting your future there. Let's take a quick break.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back. All right. We're back.
Yeah.
Our old man potty break.
Yep. So, we're going through the PREPPER acronym. And so far we've done P, prepare for any disaster. R, respond without fear. E, evaluate every possible scenario. P, pack supplies. P, plan for the unexpected. E, envision a happy outcome. And now we're on the letter R, remember to hope.
Yeah.
Why is that so important?
Because as soon as you lose hope, psychologically, you're going to start going downhill into darker thoughts. And very quickly after that, you're going to physically start going downhill.
Your body actually starts shutting down.
You'll stop cleaning your water. One of the biggest things that, looking back, military historians look at the Chechnya situation when Russia invaded Chechnya, and then there started an insurgency. One of the big things Petraeus wrote about on how to fight an insurgency was that it was noticed that the Russians stopped shaving. They stopped taking baths. They were losing hope. So they stopped taking care of their doing their personal hygiene. They weren't brushing their teeth, shaving their face, washing their butts. They stopped cleaning their weapons. Pretty soon they were eating less food. They were drinking dirty water, fighting amongst themselves.
Well, how interesting of an observation, because the Battle of Stalingrad was the exact same thing.
Yeah.
The Russians and Germans fighting each other, and the Russians realized that they were winning because the Germans, when they were capturing Germans, they were no longer bathing or doing just normal personal hygiene, shaving, whatever.
Rusty bayonets, rusty weapons.
That's when they realized that they were actually winning that.
They were losing
battle.
hope. And, hope is a very human trait. There's no other being on the face of this earth that has that hope, that feeling of going to make it. There's something greater than ourselves, that kind of stuff. So the little things on this list that lead up to the last R are going to help you keep hope. If you've packed the right supplies, that you you feel like you've prepared for any disaster, all that stuff will help you keep hope. The number one thing you can keep your hope of faith in God, I believe, but also your fellow humans. Don't lose hope. And you might see people doing some pretty horrific things. That's not everybody. That's that one person, that individual. Having people around you, don't isolate yourself, I think as well is a big deal with hope. If you isolate yourself and it's just you and your family and you're locked down inside your house by yourselves, it's hard to even we talked about in the news media. If you're just keeping to yourself in your own house and you're watching TV, you're going to lose hope in humanity. Mm-hmm. You're going to think everything is burning. Everything's the worst. This whole world's going to shit and everybody's terrible and I don't trust anything. But man, if you go take a walk around your block in your neighborhood and everybody walk by, hey, how you doing? Oh, good. You see him washing his car. This guy's mowing his lawn. Everything's fine. 99% of the people in this country or on this earth are living in harmony and everything's going okay. Mm-hmm. So just don't lose hope.
Right. So that's the PREP-PER acronym. And then that's what, if you just follow those basic steps, the very basic items that we listed, but there's so much.
It's a very good beginning.
Right. So then you say to yourself, where do you start? Where do I start? And if you were to start to do the research just on preparation, you will be so overwhelmed with information, so overwhelmed with items you should supposedly have, because there's a checklist for everything.
Yeah, you can get paralysis by analysis.
There is. So my recommendation is just start with the basics. The basics are that you have 3 days of supplies in your home.
That's easy enough to do.
Just start there.
When you go to the grocery store, go to the grocery store. If you need a box of pasta, buy 2.
Right.
That's it. That's how you start.
Right. That's how you work out your small amounts in your budget.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go crazy on it. You don't need to.
Yeah, don't go to REI and run up your credit card with $10,000 worth of...
No, that's not the intent.
No.
The intent is to say, like you said, I'm going to buy 2 boxes of spaghetti instead of 1. Spaghetti noodles aren't going to go bad.
Right.
Put them on your shelf. That way you got an extra box. Mm-hmm. And if nothing ever happens and it's a cold night, you don't want to go to the store, you go, well, I got a box of spaghetti.
That's right. That's what we used to do. So in the beginning of hurricane season, we would buy an extra case of water every week. We'd buy an extra pack of ramen noodles, buy an extra cans of beans, whatever. And then when it came past hurricane season, we're getting into winter. The winters in South Carolina are very mild. We would have, beans and rice and ramen, and we would stop buying water until we used up the water that we had. Then it was a cycle. It was a cyclical thing. Mm-hmm.
But that's how you're going to do it. Small amounts.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of resources. Just Google 3-day supply checklist. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And click on images, and you're going to get 60 million different checklists. Just pick one, print it, and there's your 3-day checklist.
You could go buy a Boy Scout handbook at a thrift store.
Yeah.
And it has basic fire starting, how to make a shelter, real basic stuff like that. FEMA.gov, all the Missouri Department of Emergency Management, they all have lists.
Right.
And you could just use them as a resource. Don't use it as a crutch. Don't say, oh, FEMA is fully prepared and they're going to be here to save me. No, that's not true.
Right. And here's a hint when it comes to doing that, following that little checklist. Make sure that if you're planning food purchases, small amounts over time, that you're getting things that you will actually eat.
Yeah. Yeah. If you get like cans of sardines, which are high calorie, super nutritious, I'm not eating a freaking sardine unless I'm starving to death, man.
Right. Right.
So that thing's going to sit on my shelf till the can gets rusty and I have to throw it away.
Exactly. So, when it comes to resources, there are plenty out there. There's millions of them. But I'm going to give you some recommendations.
All right.
What were the things that I used early on to start my preparedness journey?
Let's hear it.
I had 2 websites I used to follow all the time. One is Prepper website. That's what it's called, prepperwebsite.com.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was called Survival Blog.
Mm.
Survival Blog was the Cadillac of the survival/prepper movement at the time. It's still around. Both of them are still there. You don't really need more than that because, for instance, if you go to the Prepper website, they have a links page that has probably links to 600 different prepper websites.
Yeah.
And you can just go through them and look at them forever and find one that you like.
Yeah, and it's addicting too. Like you have to be careful because it becomes a hobby and then it could become an obsession.
Yeah, YouTube's the same way.
Yeah.
The people showing off their prepper pantry.
Yeah.
You can watch those videos all day long.
Yeah, I got to the point where I would see somebody's pant. I'm like, oh, that's sexy. Look at them shelves. How much weight can those shelves hold?
Right. Look at all that food they got. Man, I'm so unprepared.
There's. You also have to think about the stuff that you like. You're not necessarily food, right? So if you have women in your household, you need to think about sanitary stuff,
feminine hygiene
products. They make reusable, washable pads for women. If you have children, you need, reusable, washable diapers, or you need, sewing kits. Like, do you know how to patch a knee on some blue jeans?
Right.
Like the basic
Never
stuff.
Bag of dog food or cat food.
This is crazy. Like, this is prepper stuff now, but if you just go back 100 years, these were normal household items and skills that people had to survive.
Yes.
Especially around this area where we live now.
Right. I also have 3 books of scenarios that were very helpful, and they're still helpful today. One of them is the book 1 Second After.
Oh yeah, that's the number one.
Written by William Forsythe.
If you need some motivation to be prepared, read 1 Second After.
1 Second After.
But it's also an instruction manual.
It is. That's what I'm saying.
It's very instructional.
Yes. So 1 Second After is a great book about what happens if an EMP hits the country and how a small town in North Carolina, completely unprepared, survived.
Yeah.
So you learn a lot there. The other one is a book called Patriots, written by James Wesley Rawls. He's also the guy who ran the Survival Blog website.
Oh, okay.
He has a series of books. I will tell you, just kick out the rest of them. Just read the first one, Patriots.
Yeah.
Excellent book about how to prepare for whatever's going to happen. This book was based off of a general economic collapse and what happened to the world economy at that time. Great book.
Which we could talk about now because precious metals are going crazy.
They're very much so.
And it's an early alarm bell.
It is two things. Number one, it's still catching up from all the inflation we've had.
Yeah.
So it used to be that precious metals was your hedge against inflation.
Yeah.
That it would go with inflation. It didn't happen that way.
It didn't, because inflation happens so fast.
Right. But it's catching up now.
It is. Yeah.
We're seeing it. And the other one is that it predicts the collapse of the dollar.
Yeah. So if
the economy,
if it catches up to the rate of inflation and surpasses it, that's going to tell you like, oh crap, the
and we're
dollar
moving
is
there.
in trouble. Yeah.
I mean, as of yesterday, the price of silver was north of $48 an ounce.
Yeah.
And gold was right at about $3,900
Yeah.
an ounce.
Yeah.
Both of them record highs. Well, gold is not, or silver is not a record high, but gold is.
Yeah.
Every time it goes up, it's a record high for gold right now.
Right.
Silver, it isn't. Silver has been manipulated twice in history, so it's got a little ways to go. But, you know, when it gets north of $50 an ounce, which it's going to do,
probably by the end of the year,
you really need to start paying attention.
Yeah.
And then the third book is Lights Out. Now, Lights Out is not a real book. Lights Out was a blog or a it was like a fan fiction thing on a website.
One post at a time.
Right. A guy wrote one chapter at a time, telling this little story about a town in Texas that survived an EMP also.
Yeah.
And how this subdivision, it was based on a subdivision.
Yes.
Coming together to protect themselves and survive. That book, you can find it. It's very hard to find. You got to do some real deep digging on the internet. But that one is an excellent preparation book because it goes from the ground up. Do you remember the game Doom 2?
I know of it. I never played it.
Okay, so Doom 2 is a great video game, and this is where the book kind of gets a little crazy because Doom 2, you'd run around and you're shooting all the zombies and stuff and goblins, and then you get low on ammo, and oh wait, there's a clip of ammo laying there. I just got reloaded. You know, that kind of thing. It's kind of funny. You get these little, what's that called?
Caches, probably like
yeah, but they're kind of like laying around.
Drops or whatever, loot drops or whatever they call them now.
I forget. But Lights Out is kind of that way.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Yeah, because at the beginning it was like, just so happened their company had diesel fuel.
Right.
And
the owner gave them $1,000 in silver dimes.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. So, you know, understand that there's some plays in the storyline, but overall, those three resources, 1 Second After, Patriots, and Lights Out, I think are the premier books on preparation through fiction stories.
I would add a fourth. The Going Home series is really good because he's away from home on work and he's driving home and the EMP hits and then he just pulls his car off to the side of the road. He has a get home bag. He has training and he's prepared. His family at home is prepared for this.
He's 300 miles away.
300. And those are good. They get a little weird the further you go.
Yeah, I would stick to the first book of the series.
The first one.
It's called Going Home. It's by A. American.
But it's actually entertaining. The whole series is entertaining. Yes. I listened to it on audiobook because I had an hour drive to and from work when I was in South Carolina. So I would just listen to audiobooks and I listened to the whole series. That was a good one.
There's another one called 77 Days in September.
Yeah, that's in my Amazon cart. I haven't read it yet.
That's a guy who was on a business trip in Texas. EMP hits, and his family is up in Minnesota or Wisconsin, somewhere up there. And so it's all about his lone journey.
From Texas to Minnesota.
To get home. Another good story about some guy who's just resilient.
Yeah.
Making it and getting there.
Dude, I just listened to a podcast, Andy Stump Cleared Hot podcast. He has a former Ranger on there who wrote a book, Resilience is Greater Than Endurance. And he talks about there's a difference between enduring a situation and having resilience getting you through the situation.
Yeah, how's that?
And his talk was very, and you know, it's more, he's a business consultant, leadership business consultant, this kind of stuff. But he talks about the difference between the two. So that would be a good book to look at. another Undaunted Courage, the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Mhm.
They were so prepared for that adventure, that excursion to go up the Missouri River. They had no idea what they were getting themselves into, but they checked all the boxes. He consulted experts on all those different areas that he might need to know. And he was kind of, Meriwether Lewis was he just had the audacity to say, I can do, he had the hope. He said, I can do this. Just give me the tools to get the job done. And he made, Thomas Jefferson had a lot of influence on that. Obviously it was like some of those wealthy and influential people in the country at the time.
Greatest land purchase in history.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, that what was going on during the Lewis and Clark expedition. Then you had the Louisiana Purchase happened, and
which was first, and then Lewis and Clark was to survey it.
Right, but they kind of had, like, when they started planning for the expedition, they were like, we need to be careful we don't piss off Spain or France or the Indians about going to their country. We don't want it to make it, but at the same time, the diplomatic mission was happening to do the Louisiana Purchase, and all those moving pieces that happened was really, it's incredible to read this book. But the amount of detail that they went into to be prepared for whatever may come. They had stuff to trade with the natives. They had medicine. They did some training on plant botany and navigating by the stars and geography, geology, all this. They were a well-rounded team when they went. And that's really what you need is, first of all, say, I'm going to make it through this, but here's my weak points. And I need to get a little bit stronger in this area and that area.
And I can't do it alone.
You can't do it alone. Yeah. You have to have a network of friends. I talked about this before in South Carolina. We had an inner circle that we called it the inner circle, but we had several outer rings of networks of people that we even got so detailed that we were doing dead drops, in telephone poles. We had holes screwed into them with a cork that we could put messages inside, and handwritten notes that we could do, all sorts. It was all figured out. We had contingencies on top of contingencies of if this happens, here's what we're going to do. That gives you a sense of security. You have a feeling like, oh, okay, I'm ready. No big. I can live my life and be happy, not worry about.
Which I have a recommendation. So, clearly, again, we walked through an acronym and we said why we started doing what we were doing.
Yeah.
We can do a single show just on water. We can do a single show just on food.
Yeah.
Which we'll do.
Sure.
But my recommendation is, if you do decide to get involved and you are starting this process, do it now, a little bit at a time. Don't wait until an emergency happens.
Yeah.
For instance, COVID.
Yeah.
COVID happened. We had the lockdown. What happened?
Everybody went out and bought up all the toilet paper.
The grocery stores were cleared out.
Yeah.
In less than 24 hours. Costco cleared out.
Yeah.
And, so I remember going shopping and I just need a couple things. I'm walking down an aisle and a guy's just going, the salsa aisle is gone. And he's just grabbing jars of salsa and putting them in his cart. He's got 6 jars of them going, what are you going to do with that? It'll be there.
Eat it by the spoonful.
So don't get caught up in that rat race.
Yeah.
When that thing is happening, something like that is happening, you do not want to be out in the world participating. Just stay home.
3 days of food is awesome.
Stay home and be ready from that. Have some confidence.
Yeah, the old proverb, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time is today.
Right.
Doesn't matter where you're starting. If you're starting from scratch, today's the best day to start.
And do a little bit at a time. You don't want to be that guy, because I'm here to tell you, I can pick out a prepper instantly.
Oh, yeah. And if you think the government's not tracking your purchases when you're like go to Bass Pro Shop and you're buying 1,000, 2,000 rounds of shotgun ammo. Like, you don't think they know?
Right. Going to Costco and you got 16 boxes of ramen,
Yeah.
cases of ramen. That's a lifetime, dude.
Yeah.
And immediately I'm going to go, he's prepping.
You might have somebody follow you home.
Exactly.
You never know. Like, if stuff's getting tight and you got a whole truckload of canned goods, and you're like, I wonder where this guy's going.
So times are fine right now. If you're going to start, go ahead and start. And I recommend you start. Don't rely on the government or someone else to come help you. Be
No.
self-sustaining.
Yeah, because
that's the secret to success.
What did Ronald Reagan say? The scariest words ever said were, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Right. Understand, the reality is if FEMA knocks on your door.
Oh, good night.
And they're here to help.
Yeah.
They're going to ask you for certain things. And if you got them or if you invite them into your home,
they're
going to take everything out.
They're going to take it. Yep.
That's guaranteed. It's in writing. I can prove it.
Yep.
So don't go down that road. Be self-sustaining, have enough there to take care of yourself. Don't go relying on others.
Yeah.
And then, have that gray man mentality.
Yeah, let's touch on that real quick. Gray man. What does that mean?
Well, it means blending in.
Just you're not noticeable.
Right. You look like everybody else.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good in a serious time of, I wouldn't say go close to famine, but let's go there.
Scarcity.
Yes. And you walk around like you're fat and happy and you look great.
Yeah.
And everybody else is going, I don't feel so good. And you're standing in the food line.
Mm-hmm.
There's an issue. You're going to get looked at right away.
Yeah. Or I see the guys that drive around in what look like tactical vehicles, like their Jeep is all tactical. And, like, hey, that guy's got some guns I could probably steal.
Exactly.
All I got to do is jack him and then I got his stuff.
Right.
That's why my backpack, my get home bag is just a hiking pack. It's not a military rucksack.
Right.
It's a hiking pack.
Don't go walk around in all your camo gear thinking you're badass.
No, dude.
You're going to be the first guy down. Guaranteed.
I will say that if anybody listening has any questions or you want some help, you want some guidance, you need further discussion, email us at showmemk@gmail.com. We'd be happy to answer your questions. You can come on the show as a newbie, maybe, and talk about the first steps you're taking. And
question and answer.
That would be cool. Or we could just go back and forth on Facebook at the show, Headspace and Tasting Podcast, on X, YouTube. Comment, like, share, subscribe. It really helps boost our numbers, boost other algorithms. If you're listening to us from another country, which we have listeners all over the world, I would love to know from your perspective as a European or Australian, Asia, what are you doing? Is it just normal lifestyle to have 6 months worth of food canned on your shelves?
Are you allowed to do it?
Are you allowed? Yeah. What could you do to protect your family? What are you, I know Australia, like, good luck getting a gun down there. So what do you guys do? I really, really want to know. Or do you feel like you're in a position where you don't need to worry about it, that your government is stable and everything's fine and you don't need to worry about this sort of stuff? I don't know. What kind of natural disasters do they have in Europe? Like, it gets hot in the summer and they don't have air conditioning?
Yeah, what do they have over there?
The plague?
It's hot. It's cold. The plague.
Poor dental hygiene?
Bad immigrants.
Maybe that's a problem. We don't know.
They always want to fight each other.
We only see, they're always starting other world wars. But the stuff that we see on TV coming from Europe is like, yikes, do I really want to go there for a vacation? Or do I, like, what's going on? It seems like there's about to be a revolution in England. Is that real? Or is it just what the news media is telling us?
Yeah.
We would love to know. So please contact us on one of our social media platforms, YouTube, or showmemk@gmail.com. If you have a suggestion for a bourbon you'd like us to try, we have access to pretty much everything that's available in the world close to us, so we can go out and get it. If you want to be a guest on the show, if you have a story you'd love to tell, a topic for us to talk about, let us know.
Stay positive, man.
Stay positive. I am optimistic about the future. I think a few years ago, I was pessimistic, and my prepping was coming from a point of pessimism, where it was like, shit's going to hit the fan.
Fear.
And I need to be ready. Yeah.
right? You're responding without fear, but you're prepping out of fear.
That's right. So now I'm prepping just to be prepared.
Right.
That's it. My faith is in God. I put my hope in the future in my God that, you know, I study my Bible and I know what's coming. So whatever happens to my earthly body is going to happen. You know, I just don't want to die of starvation. That would be cool. Any other way, I'm fine. You got anything else to add, Kevin?
Life is good.
Life is good. God is good.
And life is what you make of it. And
Well, yeah, man.
If you're going to wake up in a bad mood, you know what? You're going to be in a bad mood all day.
Yeah, keep that crap to yourself too. Don't pass it on to anybody.
Right. Don't ruin my vibe.
Yeah, man. We're chilling. Leave me alone.
October 10 is quickly coming up. We won't be on the air again until after October 10 because it's October 10 is a Friday.
Okay.
But for those who don't know, October 10 is National Hug a Kevin Day.
Are you serious?
So if you know someone named, and it's the only National Hug a Name Day for any name, Hug a Kevin Day. I'm Kevin. So
yeah,
you see me around on Friday the 10th, give me a hug.
I'm going to break your back. I'm going to squeeze you so hard.
That's fine. Love hugs. So if you know someone named Kevin, give him a hug.
My brother's named Kevin. Love you, Kevin. I'm gonna hug you on that. I'm gonna hug you if I see you before that day.
All right. Sounds good.
That's it. I don't have anything else to add. I've had a great time. Thank you for listening to our podcast. I can't wait to do more, Kevin.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week, folks.
Peace out.